Hey everybody, it's been a while since I made one of these, but we're back with an episode of Diagramming English while learning Latin. There we go. And this episode is from Henle Latin, first year Latin by Robert Henle. This is from chapter 3, and this is actually exercise 47 in the book, English to Latin Exercises. Okay. Part of the enemy is in the towns, but part is on the hill. This is number 1, actually, exercise 47, number 1. So the subject of this sentence is part. Part, subject of the sentence, nominative case, part what? Part of, preposition. Of whom? Enemy, object of the preposition, of the enemy, prepositional phrase, genitive case. Usually whenever you see of, you'll see that, or it will be in the genitive case. Almost every time you see of, it'll be in the genitive case. Part of the enemy what? Part of the enemy is, that's the verb. It's actually a state of being verb, and it's a state of being verb because it's saying that the enemy exists in a certain location. Where do they exist? They exist in, preposition, in what? Towns, object of the preposition, in the towns, prepositional phrase, ablative case, but, conjunction, but what? But part, subject of the second sentence, it's an independent clause down here, but part is another state of being verb. Part of the army exists where? On, preposition, on what? Hill, object of the preposition, on the hill, prepositional phrase, ablative case. And then, since Latin doesn't have any article adjectives, we'll simply eliminate the article adjectives. Now, I always diagram these sentences with my students so that while they're learning Latin, they're simultaneously increasing their English power. So, part goes on the subject side. Part, a prepositional phrase like of the enemy, goes underneath the word it's describing. Part of the enemy. Part of the enemy. I'm going to write quickly and not worry as much about handwriting since you guys can hear what I'm saying. Part of the enemy is, there's the verb. Part of the enemy is where? Part of the enemy is in the towns. In towns. But it says, and I found just the other day a new way of adding this conjunction on here. Let me simply stick it on the front of another diagram line, and we'll put the conjunction there. But what? But part of the enemy is on the hill. But part is on, but part is on hill the. Okay. So, it's pretty complicated, but we've diagrammed it, and unfortunately I've left myself very little space to write in Latin, but we'll give it a shot. So in Latin, to say part of the enemy, you say pars ostium. Pars ostium in the towns, in opidis. Pars ostium in opidis est. Honestly, that est would go really to the end of the sentence, but we'll just stick it in there. Pars ostium in opidis est, and pars in colle est. So there you go. Pars ostium in opidis est, and pars in colle est. Actually, I forgot the conjunction, didn't I? I forgot to put in but. So we'll just slip it right in here. Pars ostium in opidis est, sed pars in colle est. Pars ostium in opidis est, sed pars in colle est. Let's look at another one. This is sentence 3 from exercise 47. Christ is the King of tribes and nations. Subject of the sentence, Christ. Subject of the sentence, nominative case. Christ what? Christ is. Verb. What kind of verb is it? It's a linking verb, and we know it because we have this noun that follows this verb here and renames the subject. When a noun follows a linking verb and renames the subject, it is a predicate nominative, and of course goes into the nominative case. Of preposition, of whom. He's king of tribes, object of the preposition, and he's also king of nations, object of the preposition. Of tribes and nations, the entire thing is a prepositional phrase in the genitive case. And as a conjunction, the is an article adjective. Okay, let's diagram it. Christ on the subject side, is on the verb side, and when we have a predicate nominative or predicate adjective, we put a slant line to the main line and then add the predicate nominative or the predicate adjective. So Christ is king, Christ is the king, he is the king of, that's where the preposition goes on the slanted line, and then the objects of the preposition usually go on a straight line here, but when we have two of them, then we have to split the straight line. So Christ is the king of tribes and nations. And when we translate this into Latin, it's going to come out to something more like Christ is the king of tribes and of people. So Christ in Latin is Christus. Christus est Rex. Christus est Rex. Christus est Rex of the tribes. Gens in Latin is tribe, however, in the genitive case, and it's also genitive plural, this is going to become gentium. So we have Christus est Rex gentium, and of the people, we'll translate this to of the people, and that of course is going to be populus. Populus is people. However, this is genitive plural of nations, so we can't say populus, we will have to say populorum using the genitive plural endings for the second declension noun populus. So, Christus est Rex gentium et populorum. Christus est Rex gentium et populorum. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. Last one. Part of the enemy is in the hills, part is in the forest. Shortened version, part of the enemy is in the hills and forest. Subject of the sentence, part. Subject of the sentence, nominative case. Of is the preposition, of whom, enemy. Object of the preposition, of the enemy is a prepositional phrase. It goes into the genitive case. Is the verb. It's a state of being verb because it's telling us that the enemy exists in this location or in these locations. In is a preposition. Hills, object of the preposition. Forest, object of the preposition. In, hills, and forest, object of the prepositional phrase, ablative case. And as a conjunction, da is an article adjective. Da is an article adjective. We don't need those because Latin doesn't have them. However, we will use them when we diagram them. And let's do that now. Part of the enemy is in, remember what I said, if we have a double preposition like this in our prepositional phrase, we've got to split the line. Part of the enemy, the enemy. Part of the enemy is in the hills. And part of the enemy is in the forests. Okay, now all we have to do is translate this into Latin. Pars. Pars is part in Latin. Pars hostium, that's genitive plural, pars hostium. Part of the enemy. And we'll put the verb at the end. So let's go straight to the prepositional phrases. Part of the enemy is in Colis's hill. Colis's hill, however, for it to be ablative and plural, we're going to have to change colis to colibus. So, pars ostium es in colibus, and et, and part of the enemy is in the forest, in well, I've not left myself much room again, have I? Let's go down here below. Pars hostium es in colibus, and pars in silva is forest, but we can't say silva because it's plural and it's ablative, so we'll have to change silva to silvis. So we have pars ostium in colibus et in silvis. Now all we need is our verb, est. The verb doesn't always go at the end, but the Romans did love to put it at the end, or Latin does love to put it at the end. So I prefer to, but it doesn't always have to go there. Pars ostium in colibus et in silvis est. And that's it for this video. If you want to see more like this, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel below. And if you want to go check out my website, it's easy now. All you have to do is click on that little icon that you see up there, that little card that you see up there in the top left-hand or top right-hand corner. Okay, guys, either here at YouTube or over on my site. I'll see you around on the internet. Have a great day.